Good morning, everybody. It is Camille here, and I help single women and men in how to attract a great life partner so they can have the passionate, loving, and fulfilling relationship they deserve. And it's my pleasure to talk to my regular guest, Robert Kirby. Welcome, Robert, on the call. Robert is an amazing transformational mentor and has been in the personal development industry for many decades. He is also the founder of the Heartfelt Relationship Workshop. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but welcome on the call.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So, Robert, today we're going to chat about the importance of holding space. So holding space for a potential partner to turn up, but also holding space for a partner when we're in a relationship. Why is that? Why is it so crucial to be able to hold space for someone?
Well, let's take example of someone who has a lot to offer, a man or a woman, and maybe they haven't been in a relationship in a while, and they're feeling a bit lonely. And so the first thing that I suggest is that they build the container to hold this bigger space for themselves. So you need to hold a space of self-love, because people pick up on that very quickly. It doesn't matter how attractive or successful someone is. If they don't love themselves, people intuit that. And what happens is that they're looking outside themselves for someone else to fill them. And it's not very appealing. Even though, a woman may be beautiful or a guy may make $1 million a year, it doesn't matter. Because that person right away, someone who's switched on, knows their hard work. So you want to be able to love yourself. So, in body psychotherapy, we call this building your container. It's holding a space for yourself, and that space needs to be big enough to hold someone else, because people want to be held. Meaning, when I say be held, I don't mean necessarily physically. I mean, they want to be supported in life, because life gets tough. It can be bumpy. And sometimes when you have someone special with you for this journey, they're holding a space for you, you're holding a space for them. It's not like you're kind of like codependent. You're not leaning on each other, but it's like there's two equal people. Let's use a man and a woman as an example. These two independent, powerful people who are drawn to each other, and they're holding a space as the other goes through the transformation of finding their deepest truth in this lifetime. And that becomes very beautiful. And that in your case, you just have a new little man on the horizon, last 5 or 6 months. And so you're holding a space for your husband and he for you. And the two of you now have a container to make this little man safe. He's new to the world. So he's totally dependent on the two of you, especially Mama Bear right now. And so you're beautifully holding that space for him, for your husband, for yourself, and your clients. If you didn't have the container, you'd be collapsing, you'd be exhausted, you'd be calling your mother over from Switzerland to take care, hold you up. And
Which is to do sometimes, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It's great to have support, but you're the kind of person, you've done so much work, and you have such a huge container that you can hold a space. Of course, then when someone supports you, it feels beautiful. Yeah.
Love that. So I'd love to, for the people listening who might not be clear enough with what does it really look like if someone is holding the space for themselves, if they're single, from how does that feel to the other person? You mentioned that if they're not holding the space, there's a bit of maybe a lack or needy energy to it. But what does it look like if someone is in that space of, I've got self-love, I've got that real nice container for myself?
So being a man, I'll use a man as a example, is that I know that when I'm full of life and full of Robert, and I feel really happy with myself, I can see that women find me more interesting. If I'm exhausted or collapsed and feeling a little bit needy, women pick up on that. Men's neediness or many men are sexually needy, and it's such a turn off to women. Unless they're very sexually wounded, they're going to just go the other way. This guy could be very good looking, he could be very successful, but it doesn't mean that he's full of life and full of love and full of energy. So, how do you build that container for yourself? Well, from body psychotherapy, that grounding exercises are really good. And also being out in the earthing, the warm weather's coming now. So getting outside in the sun with your bare feet, that builds a container. Eating really healthy and not having junk food at night, that builds a container. And also meditation, emptying your mind, allowing yourself to fill up with love and light, and just being able to hold that and getting really excited about the direction that you're going in. Where am I going? Where is Camille going with her life, with her family, with her career? So when people see that, they're drawn. They're going to say, oh, wow, I want to be like Camille because she really is full of life. She loves herself and she loves her community, the people that she serves as a coach. She has a beautiful son and a beautiful marriage. And so people are really drawn to that as opposed to the opposite.
Love that. And in regards to holding a space for a potential new partner, what are some of the tips for that? What's your take on it?
Since you work with a lot of women, I think when women are connected in body, mind, spirit, heart, and soul, they have such an incredible dignity that they become more interesting. And so they have this love in themselves, and they're also they're spontaneously connecting with people in a loving way with no attachment. In other words, they're not being seductive or needy or attention seeking. I've always interesting over the years, it's fascinated me when I would meet women, doesn't matter what country I'm in, but I'll go to a party or I'll go to a mixer or, some like a holiday Christmas party or something like that. And I'll see a woman in the room who's full of life. Now, she may not be the most stunning, beautiful woman in the room. She's attractive, but what's absolutely gorgeous about her is there's so much light coming out of her. And I see the men, they can't resist it. All the men are like crowding around her, and she's taking the piss out of them. She's joking around with them. She's not coming on to them. She's not needy. It doesn't matter if they ask for her number because she doesn't need anything.
She's present. She's in her zone.
She's in her zone. She loves herself. Maybe she'll connect with a guy. Maybe she'll, have a drink with him. Maybe she won't. Maybe they'll exchange numbers. It doesn't really matter because she has no attachment. And when people have that, they become very, very appealing.
I love that you mentioned that because a lot of my clients, they're really not, they're a bit over the online dating world, and they always say to me, I want to meet someone in person. And I'm like, absolutely, it's possible, but it's going to be really important that you're in that real present space and that you interact and you make eye contact. And as you said, without that attachment, though, it's not about like going to a bar with that agenda of, okay, I want to meet the man of my dreams tonight, and sort of to really search.
Yeah. When women are needy like that, they can get into a lot of trouble very quickly. So it just attracts the wrong kind of guy.
And then it's more in that hunting energy of like, rather than being in that, what you described. So that's a really good tip. And I always talk about like engage with people every day, because you don't know who's overhearing a conversation or who's seeing you from the other side being that vibrant woman. So it is, as you said, it's about being in that zone without having the attachment. So in regards to for the people listening who are in relationships, why is it so we had a bit of a chat about the importance of holding space for your partner, and especially when there are challenges, rather than taking on their negativity or their drama or their pain, to just be able to hold a space for them. And I love that concept. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That's so much more important. A lot of times, so being a man, I'll speak from the man point of view. Men want to fix the problem for the woman, and the woman doesn't want that. She just wants to be supported. She may want to be held, but she just needs to know that he's there, that he loves her, even though she's going through this crisis, even though she's in pain. And he can't be her therapist, because if he does, it gets very yucky, the energy between the two, and he's trying to fix her. And it never ever works. It just causes the relationship to get stuck. And if he can detach, just be at an arm's length with his space holding, that he loves her. I'm here for you. If you want to talk, I'll listen to you. If you want to make an appointment with your therapist or your healer, go on and do that. I support you to do that right away. If you want to attend a workshop or whatever it is that you need to do sometime alone, I'm totally cool with all that. Instead of saying, why aren't you in a good mood today? That kind of thing. Oh, you're so bitchy. As soon as men do that, they have the space they're holding for the woman is zero. It's just selfish, and it becomes all about him. And so as a man evolves, he realizes that he's got to hold the space for his woman to go through whatever she needs to go through in life to find her freedom and her truth.
Beautiful. And from the other perspective, as from a male as well, what does it feel like if a woman really has, holds the space for you without trying to maybe over mother, or how does that give us the opposite
yes.
of what it feels like?
I know for me, when I'm with a woman, that she's there, that she communicates with me, that she's asking me how's it going, is there anything that she could do, can she listen, and she can be affectionate in a supportive way, and not wanting to fix the problem but just support Robert. So it's a feeling of nurturing that's very beautiful, and it's appreciated.
And it's also giving space sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about like, okay, I'm okay with you being not okay. Because I think sometimes as women, we also want to make everything fine, but that sometimes doesn't work. So it's about, again, and that comes back to, if we can sit with our own space and be grounded in our own being, we don't feel like we constantly need to, over mother or over nurture everyone around us.
Exactly. When you've got someone's back, when you're there to support him, he or she, they appreciate it very, very deeply, and they know that you have their best interest at heart. And you work through this problem. How long does it take you to get through a crisis? As long as it takes, because Fritz Perls, the great psychiatrist, said human beings are either in a crisis, coming out of a crisis, or going into a crisis.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't sound like a Hollywood movie.
It doesn't sound so great.
Get married, live happily ever after.
But there's a lot of truth in it.
There's a lot of truth in it. And what he's saying is that's so people can grow. And if you do work on yourself, you can head off that crisis when you feel stuck. In other words, most people live in a comfort zone. And if they drop down to feeling stuck and they get help right away, not from their partner, but from a professional outside, they can work through that so they don't drop into crisis. Otherwise, we can often keep spiraling downward. And also, people who are in their comfort zone, if they're willing to get out of their comfort zone, they're going to have a lot of chaos initially. But then they work through that, they expand their comfort zone, and then they start having an exceptional life. They can go to a new level with their partner, or meet someone of a high caliber. If you're exceptional, who are you going to attract? You're going to attract an exceptional person, because birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely.
Same thing with your career or business. When you're out of your comfort zone trying new things, you are uncomfortable for a while because you're not in that comfort zone. But then you expand the horizons of it, and you become, moving toward your destiny, reaching your full potential, and it's very exciting to live like that.
Absolutely. So it's definitely worth embracing that chaos and that feeling of, feeling uncomfortable, because otherwise, if we don't grow, we actually we tend to go backwards, if anything.
Yeah, we'll get stuck. And then if we're not careful, we'll slip into crisis. That's the human condition. And some people, if they're living out of truth, Camille, for a long time, they'll set up a crisis. They'll get very sick. They'll get into an automobile accident because they're not fully present. And so that's why evolving consciousness is so important, because if it's not evolving, as you said a minute ago, then it's contracting. Yeah.
Such an important conversation, because I think there is always a lot of talk about, the positive thinking and the law of, the manifesting, but often it gets sort of glossed over, and the topics of really pushing through challenges, they don't sort of get talked about as much. So it's really important it's such an important conversation. Love it.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
So wrapping up, I'm aware of time. There, you do have another great workshop coming up, I believe, this weekend. Yes. Tell us a little bit about where is it, who is it for?
Yes. So it's this Saturday, September the 8th. Once again, it's Heartfelt Relationships. Been running it for more than 20 years. It's appropriate for singles who are looking for someone special, or couples. You can bring your partner along or come alone, doesn't matter, because you're there to work on yourself. So it's 10 to 5. It's in Sydney on 99 York Street, level 2. And it's free, which is a good price. It's very convenient. And you come along, and there's an opportunity to meet like-minded people. You're going to work on balancing your masculine and feminine energies. You're going to work on letting go of maybe some difficult patterns that you had from previous partners, or even your current partner, an area that the relationship is stuck. Or for some people, they keep sliding back to family of origin issues, maybe perhaps with the opposite sex parent that they just can't seem to get a handle on. We delve into that, and we work on how do you create the best version of yourself. And we do constellations. We do, it's active all day long. I'm not lecturing. I give tidbits of valuable information, and then you jump into a process with another group of people. So it's an exciting day, and I keep doing it because people come out so inspired, and they tell all their friends about it. So that's why I enjoy it so much.
You are super committed and super passionate about the work. So I'll share the link, of course, underneath the video. So as always, awesome to connect, and great
Thanks
topic.
So much, Camille. I'm so happy for your beautiful success in every area, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you.
So long, everyone. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.